All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. Thank you for attending our Farm to School webinar. We are going to be talking about farming, schools, and lunch and how to get this local produce onto the plates of our schools. So today we are going to be talking about, we're going to go over what is Farm to School, we're going to go over why it's important, who should be involved, and how exactly Farm to School is done. This is a kind of intro to Farm to School for producers. My name is Kirstin Bailey, and I am a farmer, and I'm also a parent who is involved with different Farm to School activities. I've been farming with my family for 8 seasons now. We started out through the Growing Farmers program in Lincoln at Community Crops. And since then, I've now transitioned from Community Crops to the Center for Rural Affairs, and I'm involved with my local school as well as 6 others across the state. So the first thing we're going to go over is, what is Farm to School? And Farm to School has several different activities that constitute it. But mostly it's the practice of sourcing local food for schools or produce and providing education opportunities for children about agriculture, about health and nutrition. You can do this through school gardens, farm field trips, cooking lessons. Taste tests are another good way to get local produce into school, and as well as just kind of a meet your farmer days. It helps improve the health of children and the communities, but it also supports local and regional farmers. So it's important. Farm to School is important for children because of the increase of diabetes and the increase of childhood obesity. They're saying that the children that are born now may be the first generation to have life expectancies that are shorter than their parents. And then there is some statistics about how overweight, the percentage of school-age children who are overweight has increased. As concerning as these statistics are, one source of optimism is that it's really pretty simple to change the diet and exercise patterns that can reverse these trends. And this is talking about why the environment needs Farm to School. I think we all kind of can see how the typical food item is now traveling farther than it ever did before. And so we know that produce is coming from Mexico and Peru and Chile, and it's getting here through planes and trains and trucks, and it's just requiring lots of more fuel to get produce into America and around America. And we're also now losing varieties of crops because they're breeding everything to travel better, have longer shelf lives, be more attractive to the customer. And here is some reasons why farmers need Farm to School. We have just 2 million farms left in the United States, and of that, 330 farm operators are leaving their land every week. And I think we can see around Lincoln, in the Lincoln area, there have been at least 5 farms who have left their businesses in the last year. So the trend is to stop farming and do something maybe a little bit more economically viable for those families. The farmer's share of $1 has dropped to 19 cents, even though it was at 41 cents in 1950. And we can see why buying local farmers' produce is generating more income and helps the farmer keep more of that dollar in their pocket. And here's just an infographic about those things that I just talked about, including the amount of $1 that a farmer takes home. Farm to school also allows us farm and ranchers to diversify their income. If you do a bid sheet in the spring for produce in the fall, then you kind of have a guaranteed market, much like a CSA. You can grow and sell a variety of products to the schools, including dried beans are popular, meat is becoming more and more popular, eggs are becoming more popular now that they have school breakfasts, and if you're a dairy farmer, there's opportunities there as well. It also provides you really good experience for accessing those larger and kind of institutional markets. So when farms and schools come together, it's really a win-win. Students get those experiential learning opportunities. They can do that through the gardening, recycling, compost, maybe farm visits, but they also get that fresh local produce in their lunches. And farmers can access new markets and also engage with local buyers and do some more local promoting to the parents of the students in the school. So farmers and their produce. Local produce can be used in salad bars. If your school does fresh meal or from scratch cooking, they can use it in the hot entrees then. You can also do snacks for your classroom, taste tests like I mentioned before, as well as fundraisers. Fresh produce is really good as a fundraising opportunity for select programs or just even donating it if there's like a basket raffle or something. And then there's also educational activities. Farmers can come into the classroom. If you have the skills to do cooking demos, you can do cooking demonstrations. You can get involved with the school gardens. You can have events like an apple crunch with the Center for Rural Affairs worked with the Department of Education to go to schools around the state and have a kind of a crunch time. You can also do farm tours, or you can get involved with recycling or composting. There's lots of opportunities that are more than just selling to schools. Really what it comes down to is farm to school is about kind of building relationships between the farmer and the school and the children involved. So farmers can get that high quality and safe product to institutions right after harvest when the food tastes the best and it's going to last the longest. And then the schools have a buyer that they have a face-to-face real knowledge of each other. It's really important that you distinguish your product and yourself to be unique. So take the time to make yourself a sign to drop off at the school, identifying that produce as coming from your farm. It's really just good for the networking and the marketing as well. And it's something very simple. You can just take a picture of yourself that you like, put your farm name, and put what the produce is that you're dropping off. Or I like to laminate a sign with our farm name and a picture and how close we are to the school, and then the school can write on the sign with a marker after it's laminated. So again, we're doing more than cultivating just food. If you're a small-scale local farmer, I think you do know how important the community and relationships are. So this is just taking it a step further to the school. The Farm to School Network, which is farmtoschool.org, is a really good resource that has some of these slides on it, but it also has more information about how to network, maybe some trainings that you may need to or want to attend, some media marketing help, and they also are doing a lot as far as policy is concerned. So what kind of farms should be involved or can be involved with Farm to School? You can be an orchard, dairy meat producer, or a small, medium, and low producer. Orchards are discovering that schools are excellent markets. because the smaller apples that may not be selling to the mass markets are perfect for children. And you can sell them at a lower cost that maybe will help you access the school's budget. They're becoming more available through schools by that direct purchasing and regional distributors. When we talk about regional distributors, we're talking about the Nebraska Food Co-op or Lone Tree Foods. Livestock producers have the option to do correct connections and can process products to school specifications. This would be if you have a cow that you would like to donate to the school, you can work with the school to see how they can donate it, if they can pay for processing, and then they can process it how they need it, meaning they might want it all in ground beef. They might not want any roasts or steaks. This is a good opportunity to get involved with the local PTA or other school kind of association or foundation to work. If you donate the beef, they can maybe donate the processing costs and then get that fresh meat into the school. This also can work with poultry. The only kind of regulations you need to follow here is it has to be processed through a USDA facility and stored appropriately. Some schools partner up with grocery stores to store their meat. It might be a chance to see if a meat locker can store it for you. There's just a lot of opportunities to bring in different stakeholders to meet this goal of getting fresh local meat into the school. These meats can also be used all year round and then maybe highlighted when there isn't as much produce available, thinking specifically in December and January. Throughout Nebraska, there's also been a lot of success with local dairy products, from yogurts to milks and cheeses. So there's kind of an opportunity for a smaller producer as well. Small intensive market gardeners and growers might be the perfect scale for rural school districts, whereas larger kind of producers might be a better fit for those larger districts. So it's kind of just looking around to see who and what district you are close to, their size, and what they might need. I know for us, our local school is a pre-K through 12, and they go through about 20 pounds of tomatoes a week, which is very doable for a small scale producer. So it might be thinking outside the box, not just going right to OPS or LPS, but looking at what is in your region. Schools can get produce from farmers in different ways. They can either work directly with a farmer one-on-one. They can go to farmers markets and purchase produce there. They can purchase from a growers collaborative or cooperative. Again, I'm thinking about the Nebraska co-op here, Nebraska Farmers Market Co-op, or a large distributor or broker like Lone Tree Foods or Farm Table Delivery would be another one who works with local producers and distributes it in wholesale amount. So kind of putting it all together, there's 3 major ways that you can get involved as a producer in farm to school. You can sell, which is one that everybody thinks of right away, but you can also get involved through visits for educational activities, or you can host a field trip to your farm. It's important to kind of think about those other 2 ways to get involved, because selling produce is not always the perfect fit for everyone. You need to pick which one or more of these activities which best fit your farm business, your skills, and kind of what you're interested in. There might not be a school nearby that can purchase your product, or you don't sell something that's right for the school, but there's still other ways to connect and share your knowledge and increase your market, and just kind of getting the word out there that you are available for tours, but also that you have something to sell. Even if you're like a regional soap producer, it's still an opportunity to get the kids to the farm to see maybe your if you're selling goat's milk soap, and see the goats and kind of tour the farm and just increase their knowledge of your product. There are challenges. I think the number one challenge that everybody kind of goes to is the price point. Schools don't always have the largest budgets for produce. So it's kind of taking all of those into consideration, the delivery, kind of how much they need, how they like their stuff packed, and their quantities is sometimes a challenge. But these challenges are similar to the ones for food services directors, but it's the other side of the coin. It kind of gives you an opportunity for farmers and food service professionals to learn about each other's needs and the reality of each other's businesses to build that successful working relationship. You really need to have plenty of clear communication and build that partnership over time. So keep each other apprised of what's going on, how things are moving. When we, Fox Run Farms, which is our farm business, sell to a school, we do like to send a follow-up email like, how is that product? How is it moving? Do the kids like it? And through that feedback, we learned that while our customers wholesale may really like the different variety of colors of cherry tomatoes, kids really only like red cherry tomatoes. The purple ones they thought were a little weird, especially the ones that were kind of green striped. It just wasn't something that they wanted, and they were actively avoiding them. So that's the kind of feedback that helps us, and so we either stop doing our mix, or sometimes we just put a lot more red in than other colors because we still want to introduce them to those other colors of cherry tomatoes. So it's just, like I said, keeping that clear line of communication open between you and the food service director or whoever's doing the purchasing. So there are definitely some benefits to these educational activities for schools. Schools have an increasing amount of requirements, less time to meet these requirements, and less resources. So there are a lot of challenges for them, and if you can kind of help them, then it's a win-win situation again. For example, in the last year in Maryland, which I know is not Nebraska, they passed the environmental literacy standard, so schools must have an outdoor experience for students before the students graduate. So this was an opportunity for local farms to either have the students out to their farm or to get involved in a school garden, and it helped them meet that standard that was imposed upon them, and also had increased a revenue stream for farmers as they could provide farm tours for a little bit of money as well. So for producers, there's different educational activities and benefits. You can boost that community awareness of your farm. You can raise awareness of the local food systems with students and families. You can enhance that farmer-to-consumer relationship and even work on your brand recognition. If you have a logo, it's just connecting that logo to a face, to a place, which I think really helps when your logo is competing in a store or at a farmer's market. And you can also create revenue streams through the agritourism opportunity. So if you are open for farm tours, you can charge if you would like, or if the schools sometimes will offer to pay for farm tours. So just looking ahead, are you ready? So on-farm education is not for everyone. When you bring students to the farm isn't just yours anymore. You'll have people on your property, and your land and your business is in the trust for visitors, the community, and their actions. So you need to kind of think, is your farm really suitable for visitors? Are there different areas where people should not visit, and how are you going to keep them away from those areas? when we have farm tours, when we looked at starting this, we made sure to go around and cover all of our wells and make sure that nobody could, of course, fall in. But that's, a hazard that you need to look at and to think about. We also, when we're on farm tours, do not walk people where we're growing the hottest peppers on our farm. We try to stay away from that area because kids like to touch things, they like to taste things. So we just try to go through our farm and look at all the vulnerable areas. And are you ready to kind of take on this business? Are you going to need to hire more staff? Can you afford to show people around instead of doing your daily activities? This is just another more considerations that you need to think of. One of the most important ones is, does your insurance allow for students to visit or the community to visit? Will you need to add to your policy, or how can you kind of work around that? There are school field trip forms that are signed, and sometimes on there they'll say that the farm is not responsible for accidents, but you might want to just check to make sure that that is indeed true and that you cannot kind of get into a tight spot if something does happen. And again, just talking about the capacity, it's going to take time away from your business, but it's also going to take people. If you have a large group, you might need more than one person tending to the tour at a time. So if you need to kind of just think about the pros and cons of educating these students and how it's different from your other farm-related activities. Providing the education to the students, either if you're in the classroom or on your farm, includes lots of interaction with people, especially school-age students. And you need to make sure that this is a good fit for you and your farm before you really get involved in that. Do you like working with kids? Some people really don't, and that's okay, but you shouldn't sign up to do a tour for kids if you don't like kids, really. And maybe you're better suited to come into their school than to have them come to your farm. And again, just keeping your schedule in mind, you're going to have to get ready for the tour, give the tour, and you might want a little time afterwards to just unwind from it. And you want to think, what do you have to share with students? Do you have things to share that would be better for preschoolers? Maybe it's easier to have high schoolers come visit, and so you can get involved with a local FFA chapter. And you want to take this opportunity to have those printed marketing materials about your farm that you can hand to the kids or share with the schools. We did on our farm a lot of tours for preschoolers and first and second graders, so we made a very easy to read map for them that had our logo on it and had a map of our farm, and it showed the key elements from the road especially. So we had our farm sign, which is visible from the road, and our barn, so that when they took it home, they had something to talk about the farm with to their parents, but they also had that brand on there, and they could kind of talk about things that the parents could see if they were driving by as well. So if you've thought about all these things, you know what your farm setup is, and you know what you want to do, the next step is just get involved. And to make it happen, it's all kind of to start with those connections. Talk to a teacher. If you have kids, talk to your kids' teachers. Maybe you know who the food service manager is, a school administrator, or even maybe a school board member. Just start talking to people and see where you could fit in. This is now a time to also connect with a local nonprofit that can act as an intermediary between the farm and the school. In Lincoln, Community Crops would be a really good organization to connect to and kind of see what they're going through and how you can fit into that farm to school program of theirs. In Omaha, the Big Garden does a lot of farm to school programming in middle schools and elementary schools. And in the rural areas, the Center for Rural Affairs can help connect people as we have in the past. And you want to know who is in charge of their farm to school. So again, if you're looking at the community crops, you would just go to their website and see who you could connect to. the big garden, you could just go again to their website if you're around Omaha and see who you want to work with. And for Center for Rural Affairs, it would be shooting me an email to kind of see what teachers I'm working with and what schools I am working with. So exercising that connection can help get you a long way. Farm to School is really popular, and these 3 organizations are working on taking it to the next level. You can also connect with extension agents because they might be looking for opportunities to connect the farmers to the healthy foods to students. So extension would be another place to look. And kind of think about when you were in school, kind of what subjects were being taught and how you could relate to that, or what are your kids learning about right now. So working that kind of connection as well. And before you start talking to everybody, do make sure you think about what you have to share and what your strengths are so that it is in your wheelhouse. Here's some easy ways to start is produce for the salad bar. This is not prepared food. It's lettuce, it's spinach, it's radishes, things that are easily prepared and can put onto a salad bar, and things that the school is already buying that is buying fresh. You can also just reach out to the school, find out who the food service director is, and have a conversation to see what they need and what do they want. So that can really help out. Our school really likes to use watermelons, and they don't need that many, again, because it's a small rural school. So it's something that can easily be provided. If you can, you should visit the school and eat lunch and see what they're using and how it overlaps with what you grow. Many local schools will have a community day, and that's a good opportunity to go and explore the kind of like the cafeteria and see what's going on in there. Or you can eat lunch with if you have kids or a nephew, niece, grandchildren. These are all good ways to visit the school and see what they are using and how you might be able to provide that. So farm to school is kind of, it's a holistic approach. We want to look at not just one of these things, but all of them, and they all work together. And so producers can really help with even all 4 of these. You can help and volunteer in the school garden if you have time. You can sell your produce to them as a local producer. You can offer that farm training or the farm tour. You can also, when your produce is there, offer to come to just the lunch time and meet the kids and tell them what you produced and show them on the bar what it is, on the salad bar or in the lunch line. And getting involved with the food and ag curriculum. In high school, this is FFA, but it trickles down, and there's some ag in the classroom opportunities that happen all the way from senior education to those preschoolers. So just working hard to see where you fit in and thinking about how you can help all of these things kind of come together and connect. And there are challenges, but there's tools and resources as well. You can definitely go to the Center for Rural Affairs website, and it's mentioned here. It's cfra.org/farm2school, F2S, which has a lot of good information. There's also the Farm to School Network, which is farm2school.org. Can help you out there as well. You can always email me at kirstinb@cfra.org. And if you have questions, go ahead and just email me there, and I can help you out. Thank you to everyone who made this presentation possible. I used a template from Slides Carnival. There was a photograph that was from Unsplash, and a lot of the information came from the Farm to School Network. Again, I hope you have a great day, and thank you for attending our webinar. If you have any questions, please just feel free to email me. Thanks.